From New York City, this is The Hirsh Show. With your host, Kyle Hirshon. On today's show, from the New York Mets, in-game host Mike Janela. And now, on with the show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Hirsh Show. Thanks for joining us. I want to explain something real fast. You may see the changes going on in my space. Right now, there's going to be a pause in Hirsh Show episodes for the time being because there was a major events happening in my life that I need to pay my full undivided attention to. So this is going to be my last Hirsh Show episode for a while. But don't worry, I'll be back very soon, hopefully very soon, with more content, more events, more interviews, and everything in between. So I'm hoping to do that. But right now, I have a very special interview with Mike Janela, who is the in-game host of the New York Mets, and he is also a broadcaster and a media coach. So he's done a lot of stuff in his time as a broadcaster and, of course, on the microphone. I do want to let you guys know this episode is kind of dated because this was supposed to air early June and it's July now. So I wanted to, first of all, apologize for the delay in the episode. But things happen and I can't control it. But right now, this episode is ready. I hope you guys are ready too. Right now, my special interview with Mets in-game host, Mike Janela. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Hirsh Show. I've got an amazing guest with me right now. He is the game day infield host for the New York Mets. He also does stuff with MSG Network, the American Kennel Club. He's also a media coach. I'm very excited to welcome Mr. Mike Janela to The Hirsh Show. How you doing, Mike?
I'm great, man. What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm usually around the ballpark wearing my jersey. I was actually at the game on Wednesday where Pete Alonso walked off the Rays. That was an insane game. So how long have you been doing this? I know you've been doing this for a few years, but how long have you been associated with the Mets and all that stuff?
It's a season number 5 doing what I'm doing. So 2019 is when I kicked off. So me and Pete Alonso, both our rookie seasons. You can who's had a bigger impact on the Mets in their 5 years with the team. But 5 seasons with them. Funnily enough, and sorry, I got to clear my throat after a week of working. Now's the time where
Yes.
I had a job with the Mets when Citi Field first opened. The first year that it opened, I was they used to take photographs of fans, if you remember. Like, people would go around with their Canon, legit cameras, take pictures. You'd go online afterward and buy them if you wanted. And then iPhones happened, and no one ever did those again. So one weird season job with the Mets, a decade ago. But now I've been here doing this for the last 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see you're all over the place with Emily, and it's so cool. Now, what is a typical day in the life of an on-field host? I mean, there's obviously got to be meetings. There's always got to be pre-production, post-production stuff. I'm a broadcaster myself, so this stuff is very interesting.
Yeah, so it's weird in a way because sometimes some of it is really set, and other times it's very dynamic and changing. So for me in particular, it depends on the day because I also do a lot of hosting for the Mets digitally, not just in stadium. So, a lot of social media stuff. So, for example, if it's the first game of a series, we do a YouTube show on the Mets YouTube that talks to one of the players after they take BP, kind of previews the series. So I'll get there. Let's say it's a 7:00 first pitch, 7:10 on a Friday. I'll usually get there around between 3:30 and 4. Just to make sure there's nothing new or crazy we have to work on that's unexpected for that night. Go watch batting practice, talk to people, shake hands, smile, all that kind of stuff, kiss babies, do the whole, stay in touch with everyone thing, work on that interview, film that. Then we get set for our pregame show, which we host, an hour before first pitch for everybody that's in stadium. So writing the script with our producer, going over any stats we want to find or any themes that we want to hit on in particular for that pregame show, previewing the game that night, the stuff we have to get in, talking about, the item of the series or what giveaways we're doing and stuff like that. Just making sure we have all of our loose ends tied up. And then grab something to eat ourselves, go do our pregame show, which welcomes everyone to the park there at the stadium, and then get started with first pitch. And then this part is kind of, every day. If you go to multiple games, you'll see that a lot of our games or activations are, similar day in and day out. We like giving people the same kind of experience if they don't get to come to every game. So at that point, that part's pretty much done. So the end game is just, getting to meet the people that are doing our contest that day, chatting them up, between innings while we're waiting for that stuff to happen. And then hopefully more times than not, when the Mets win, I host a show on the Mets Twitter channel after the game at Citi Field, where fans call in, talk to me live, talk about the game, talk about what they liked, what they didn't like, what they have thoughts on, whatever. So it ends up being a kind of a long day, but a fun one, because it means that if the Mets are winning, I get to do more stuff. And then we go home and do it all over again the next day.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, I go to quite a few games, and I always see the same thing. One of my favorite things, actually, a long time ago, and you guys don't do it anymore, it was like a Mets version of Jeopardy. I think it was probably right before you were doing this. I forget, I think it was like a player was involved. They would be giving the question or whatever, and everybody else would have to answer or whatever. But I thought that was cool. One of my favorite things right now is the T-shirt launch into the Apple. Yeah. And I'm always curious, because I see people do this all the time. I've seen a few friends of mine post like, hey, I'm going to do this tomorrow. How do you determine who's going to play what game during each game?
That's above my pay grade. I just show up and say, hi, I'm Mike. Nice to meet you.
I figured that.
It's a mix. Some things are, they find a fan before a game that's wearing a really cool outfit, or that they overhear is visiting from a different country. And it's like, oh, wouldn't this be a cool experience? Other times we're literally, the perk patrol you see walking around every game, just find someone like sitting, right there, like right in the moment before we go live. So it's a huge mix, but yeah, there's no kind of tried and true formula. A lot of people always come up to me and ask me at the games, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? And no control over that, so I'm sorry. I do know for the trivia contest I host, they started putting QR codes up around the stadium now. So if you scan those, if you see them on a TV and it says you want to play Ford tailgate trivia, that's your chance to have a shot with me. I don't know what they do after that QR code gets scanned. I'll see you at the truck in the middle of the fifth inning.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've always scanned it, and I've always told them, hey, I'm not looking for a car. I'm not looking for anything right now. I just want to play the dang game.
If you say I'm looking for a car, I'll get you a little
maybe. Who knows? Now, I've also got to tell you this funny story. A few years ago, the Mets were having a job fair, and I honestly thought I was applying to do what you do now, and that's being an on-field host. But little, me being, young and naive and dumb, did not read the fine print. And it turns out that I was applying for what was before the Perk Patrol. I was applying for FanFest.
Wow.
And turns out that I did not get that job. But
I put prepare and I get some like job alerts from LinkedIn or whatever, and it's like, oh, looking for a host at the Olive Garden in East Brunswick, New Jersey. And I'm like,
yeah, you think host, and I'm like, what? No. So shifting gears a bit, I did mention Jeopardy before. One of my favorite all-time quiz shows of all time is Jeopardy, and you got to present the late great Alex Trebek with a Guinness World Record. Now, I've always heard that Alex is very cordial with people that he meets. I wonder, what was he like with you when you presented that award to him?
He was great. Very, very Buck Showalter-like, if I'm going to throw that now. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He's met everybody. He kind of knows that he's the big deal. He's the reason everyone at the time, would watch Jeopardy, go to Jeopardy. And even as humble as he was, oh, I'm not the star of the show. It's the contestants all the time. Like, Trebek was the one guy that was there, every day. You heard Johnny Gilbert, but you saw Alex Trebek. And so he kind of knew, and he was very good about getting people his time. I was there. They were taping. It was a Tournament of Champions, I think, which was great to see. Wow. Spectators' perspective from the crowd. But they were taping 2 or 3 episodes, and he would take his breaks in between each taping and answer audience questions, very deprecating, very not often giving you a straight answer, just that kind of like older kind of the way they played him on SNL, with Sean Connery messing around, like that kind of attitude. And I think the older he got, and I met him in 2014, so he'd already been doing this, 30 years. I think he leaned more into that kind of like crabby grandpa who's in on the joke thing. But he was great, and I got to present him, and then I also got to interview him afterward for our YouTube channel at the time. And he was just so gracious with his time, and you could tell he was humbled by the fact, because the record I presented him with was most episodes hosted of the same game show. So I think he was humbled at the fact that he was being recognized for something he put literally his whole adult life into almost. And I think he could tell too that he was getting toward the end. He was closer to the clubhouse than the first green, right?
Right.
It would still be 6-7 years before he actually left us at the time. But I think he knew with every passing year, these things, I gotta enjoy them more, because I'm finally getting recognized. Not finally, but I'm getting recognized for a totality of something as opposed to just the ongoing. But yeah, he was great. And as someone who has watched the show since I was 3-4 years old, it was always a dream to be on Jeopardy as a player.
Yes.
I didn't think it was going to happen. So the fact that I could at least go on there and meet Alex, that was like another part of the dream. Was check number one. Luckily, I got to do both in my life in the end. But at the time, just being able to meet him, being on set, seeing him in his element, and me as a TV personality myself, as a host, he's someone I kind of took something from, as I did from a lot of people, to kind of make my own on-air style, right? So to be able to come face to face and actually interact with and talk with and be on a similar level for at least a day with one of my heroes was awesome. Literally a dream come.
I never got the chance to meet Alex, but I remember right after he announced his cancer diagnosis, I wrote him a letter saying, hey, thanks to you and your hosting style, you've helped me shape myself into being, I used to work in radio before I did television, and I thanked him for everything that he did. And he's, without, asking for one, he sends me a signed picture, and I still have it. It's in my office to this day. And I've never felt so grateful for anyone I never even asked for anything. I just wanted to say thank you. And that's that.
He understood what he meant to people. And even if you didn't want to ask for a selfie or for a signed picture, that he knew it would make you happy. And he kind of understood the responsibility he had as America's, grandpa every night, basically. And he was just that kind of guy to do that kind of stuff.
And as you said, you got to play on Jeopardy, and it turns out you ended up playing against someone who's playing in the Masters tournament right now, Mateo Roach.
From what I've been reading, so hey, if you're gonna go down to one of the best to ever do it. That's my.
And that's why I ended up on Wheel of Fortune, not Jeopardy.
We dominate the 7 o'clock syndication block, you and me, between the two of us.
Hell yeah, that's. Now, before we end here, I want to talk about you. Now, you're also a media coach. You like to help people, sharpen their skills in the media world. I want to talk about your 10-step talent toolkit that you can buy on Amazon.com. Talking about networking, creating a reel, a website, for people that are just, wanting to get started in this crazy world of broadcasting, because from both of our experiences, we've had crazy journeys into this world of broadcasting. What's the first step of advice you can give to new broadcasters?
My first step is buy my book, right? And thanks for the plug. I didn't even ask you for that, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
But no, that I joke, but that would be my general first piece of advice: is go to people who are where you want to be, and whether it's someone really famous that's inaccessible, but they've written a book or they've done a podcast, or go find what advice they have for you. If it's someone like me that you can, I'm maybe a Z-list celebrity at best, and I'm accessible on Twitter on my DMs, or you can find my email on my website and reach out for thoughts and advice. Do that. If there's a local news anchor that you love on TV, go to the station and see if they'll sit with you and grab coffee or something. Because for me, once I got out of school, I kind of had this chip on my shoulder that I'm going to do it all myself. I can figure this out. How hard can it be? And then you realize that in this industry, a lot of others, it is all about who you know, but not just in the sense of who you know is going to get you work, because often that doesn't work out as well as you hope.
Yeah.
That can help you become a better you. And it took me a while, but then once I got further into my career, I went back to old college professors of mine that I thought, oh, college is over, I'm not going to talk to them ever again. Oh, wait, they're adults just like me who have done this. I wonder what advice they have. Or other hosts that I would meet in across different jobs, and I would look at them early on in my career as competition. Like, oh, I don't want to be friends with these people. I got to beat them for the job at the next bigger market or the bigger team or whatever.
Of course, yeah.
In reality, you guys should be working together, learning why does their show sound so good and mine sounds so bad? Is there something I can learn from them audio-wise? Is there an interview technique that they know that they've done that I would love to sharpen up more? So, yeah, whether it's getting actual coaching, and I started paying for coaching classes at a certain point too. Didn't get that much from them, but I got something, and hey, that's worth the money if you learn something about yourself, whether you're getting coaching or whether you're going to like a speaking coach, or you're going to conferences, or you're going to seminars. Like, networking is an ugly word. I hate it. It feels so like dirty and cold cally and salesy, but it's about building relationships, and people in this business, the good ones at least, I think, want to help the next generation, because we know how hard it was for us to be successful in what we're doing, because this is not kind of field where just work hard and you'll succeed and you'll continue doing better and bigger. That's not how it works. It's a very subjective line of work. So the more people you know, the more friends you have, the more well-rounded you'll be as a person, as a media personality. And it's just more fun that way. So, my biggest piece of advice is don't do it alone. Go after as many people as you can to meet, to learn from. And whether it's inadvertent or not, you're going to take something from them, and that's going to help shape you to be the best you.
Now, one last Mets question, and then we're going to get out of here, because we know we got a couple games to watch. We got a great series coming up against the Cubs. Yeah. The Hall of Fame induction this year for the Mets. Al Leiter, Howard Johnson, Gary Cohen, and Howie Rose are set to be inducted. Well, by the time this airs, this will already have happened. Yeah. So Saturday, June 3rd against the Blue Jays, they're going to be inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame. Now, it wouldn't make sense for Gary and Howie to induct themselves. My speculation is, and this is me being a little conspiracy theorist, will you and Emily be the ones inducting them into the Hall of Fame?
Well, by the time this airs, you'll know the answer to this already, but I can confirm for you beforehand, it will not be us.
Darn.
Maybe it's going to be, all I'll say is it's a former Mets player. That's all I can say. But yeah, I wish it would be me. I grew up, Gary Cohen's another one of the people that made me want to get into I originally started as a play-by-play broadcaster in my career. I did a few years in the minor leagues, and it was Gary and Howie, guys that inspired me to try that. So I would love it if they gave me that shot, but I'll have to settle for talking to Howie in line at the press cafeteria.
There you go.
Going after games, waiting for the elevator to go home.
Yeah, well, these guys deserve it, and eventually one day there will be an appreciation day for infield hosts. So hopefully that day comes.
Start tweeting the Mets. Start writing letters. Let's get that campaign started.
Yes, let's do it. All right, thank you so much, Mike Janela, for joining us on the Hirsh Show today. Be sure to catch him at the Ballpark City Field. Also catch him on MSG Network and the American Kennel Club, and of course check out his website, MikeJanela.com, for all questions regarding media coaching. And we'll see you guys next time on the Hirsh Show.